Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special edition of the R3 podcast to celebrate International Women's Day. I am joined today by Caroline Sumner, my former mentor and current CEO of R3, to talk about how she came to work in the insolvency and restructuring profession and her current role as CEO. So let's begin. Caroline, welcome to the R3 podcast. Thank you for coming on. Happy International Women's Day. How are you doing?
I'm doing well today, thank you, Ben, and thank you very much for interviewing me today on what is a very important day for women all around the world.
You're more than welcome. So I expect you're very busy at the moment, so let's get on with this special episode of the podcast. So, how did you come to work in the insolvency and restructuring profession?
Well, I was one of those very rare people who actually wanted to join the profession rather than falling into it. So I studied for an accountancy degree, and whilst looking through the various brochures and options for employment after my degree, I came across the insolvency department at PwC. The work that they did talking about their insolvency and restructuring team looked really interesting, and the concept for working for creditors and others who'd been impacted by the failure of a business really appealed to me. Sadly, at that time, you could only move into insolvency if you became a qualified accountant first, so 2 years of auditing and accountancy work followed. I then met a wonderful IP in Birmingham who agreed to give me a chance and took me on as an insolvency administrator. The job turned out to be every bit as interesting as I hoped it would, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Everyone seems to have a stint at PwC at some point in their career.
Actually, I never actually got to work for PwC because even though I applied to join their audit team, there was a bit of a miscommunication with my reference and other applications, so I didn't end up going to work for them.
Oh, there's still time.
There is. I must be the only person in the profession who hasn't, as you say.
Okay, moving on. So when did you start working at R3 and why did you decide to join and not return to practice?
Well, I actually joined R3 in 2016 as the technical director, and prior to that I'd worked for the IPA as head of their monitoring team. As a monitor, I saw firsthand how much having access to clear guidance can improve standards within the profession and also really help to prevent IPs from getting tangled up with their regulators. R3's always been a part of my career, and when I joined as a student, it was still known as SPI, so that gives you an idea of how long ago that was. I really quite enjoyed being a spy. After I joined R3, my role expanded into education and training, which is another important and key area for R3 members. And then in June of last year, I took over as CEO. So you asked, why did I come out of practice? Well, I passed JIE exams in 1995 and was really excited about the prospect of actually becoming a licence holder. However, like many other women, I became pregnant at the same time, and it was clear pretty early on that combining a career as an IP with the unpredictable hours, along with my husband's job at that time, which involved shift work, was going to be really impossible. I was very lucky that I was able to take time out of work to spend with my 2 kids, though the fact that they don't really remember the long hours spent playing Barbie and Action Man does rankle a little bit now. I did stay close to the profession, however, and when they were older, I took the role with the IPA, mainly so that I could see what the profession looked like and how it had changed in the intervening 10 years. I thought that being a monitor, I'd get to go around the whole country, look at lots of different firms, and identify where my skills really sat. And while I found lots of really good IPs, I also discovered that I really liked the monitoring role, so I never actually did go back into practice. I think I want to reassure any women, or men for that matter, who are worried about taking time out of a career to look after children. I don't think you should worry about it. As my wise old dad used to say, a year may seem like a long time now, but over the span of a working life, it isn't very long at all. And you may not go back into the career that you thought you were going to have, but it doesn't mean you can't have a really interesting and worthwhile career instead. It's really good that attitudes have moved on now, and many firms actively do support women with children in a way that they didn't 30 years ago. And I think there's a lot to be gained from taking time out and raising children. It certainly gave me great negotiating skills, improved my time management and the ability to multitask, skills which are all very relevant to the workplace, I think.
Very well summed up. Yeah, I agree with all of that. So talking about, obviously, you're now Chief Executive at R3. So what do you want to achieve as the R3 CEO?
I think my priority is to ensure that R3 is around for the next 30 years, that it's fit for the future, and that's whatever that may be for the profession. We're at the moment in the middle of a consultation which proposes to change the face of IP regulation in a way that hasn't happened since 1986. I really want to make sure that R3 continues to be the organisation that brings everyone in the profession together, whether that's for social events, networking, conferences, training courses, or joining forces to lobby for change, I really feel that together we can make a real difference. That has never been more true than now. As I said, when we're looking at proposals for the biggest change to the way IPs are regulated, the profession really is changing, and so must R3 as an organisation.
So how has R3 changed since you took over, or is it too soon?
Well, I think big change takes time, but I hope that our committees and our members will notice the smaller changes that have been introduced already. For me as CSO, we have to really ensure that we have a real focus on our members. We are a member organisation, and our members really do have to drive everything that we do. I want to make sure that we're engaging on those issues which are really important day to day for our members, wherever you are in the profession. Hopefully everybody will already have seen that the technical updates have become more frequent and focused in an electronic and accessible format. There have been so many legislative changes introduced over the last 2 years, and I know our members have really valued and appreciated the technical update. So well done to you, Ben. I know you said I was your mentor, but I think you've taken my old role and are doing it so much better than I ever did.
I'm actually blushing here, thank you.
I'm introducing a real drive for regional development and engagement. For me, our members really are our greatest asset, and I know that they value what R3 membership offers, which includes the opportunity to mix with others in the profession. You make contacts that last for life, you exchange ideas, and also there's an exchange of work. We're gradually bringing back face-to-face events and conferences. These are real opportunities to bring the profession back together. So I'd urge everyone to look at the R3 events page to see what's going on. As I can assure you that throughout the regions, everybody is talking about what events we can put on for the rest of the year and feeling that we're getting back to normal. I think without our regional and other committees, we couldn't achieve what we do. And I really don't underestimate how important our committees are. And I want to make sure that we're supporting all of our committee members in the good work that they do. So that means a real change within R3 in terms of providing information about our regional members, really supporting speakers and highlighting the topics and listening to what issues are going on and being felt in the regions. We're also trying to get better at talking about the good work that we do. For example, the Back to Business UK campaign that we started last year, for me, really highlighted the best of R3. It brought together our lobbying arm. We joined forces with key stakeholders such as the IOD, UK Finance, the ICM, the IFT. And we produced some really good advice and guidance for directors and business owners on the red flag signs of distress and the importance of getting early advice. And for our members, I think the key part of that is that we stress the importance of getting that advice from a trusted source, which really is our members. Through the campaign, it's really enabled us to showcase the work that we do and also the great work that our members do to many different stakeholders and, more importantly, the parliamentarians. Hopefully, the campaign will also have led directors to our members' doors for advice and assistance.
So a lot of change then in a short space of time. Maybe not big changes, but certainly a lot of change.
Absolutely. And I think more it's about refocusing. I don't want to mention the pandemic word, but actually it's given us, as many other organisations, the opportunity to sit back and really look at what we do and focus our efforts and attentions on those areas that mean the most to members. And that will continue.
So what's been your proudest achievement to date at R3?
Well, I have to say, becoming CEO was undoubtedly a real highlight, and I have enjoyed every day of the role to date. It hasn't been without its challenges, no big role is, but I am committed to ensuring that we deliver what our members need. I'm also really proud of what we've achieved through the Training Academy. R3's always had an excellent reputation for training, and our Training Academy courses are really no different. Online learning is accessible to everybody, but we haven't forgotten the importance of face-to-face learning. And Robert, our head of the Training Academy, is busy developing new courses and starting sessions which will be delivered live.
No, I think R3's Training Academy is one of the successes since the pandemic, shall we say. The work Robert's doing is great.
It's really good for me to see a germ of an idea that we had about 3 years ago really being brought to life and in such a brilliant way. So I'm really proud of that.
And there's a lot more to come.
Absolutely.
Okay, so diversity and inclusion is high on most organisations' agendas. Do you think the insolvency and restructuring profession needs to become more diverse?
Oh, well, I think the answer to that is yes. It's interesting, isn't it? There are real tangible benefits to having a diverse profession. One that brings a variety of experiences, skills and backgrounds. And for me, diversity isn't just about gender, though certainly in my career I have seen firsthand how the profession is getting more diverse in terms of more women in senior roles. But we've still got a long way to go. And I think the legal profession is certainly ahead of the game on the insolvency profession. But it's great to go out and see so many IPs now who are female. And it is growing. I think for me, diversity is all about bringing the best talent to the profession and providing equal opportunities for everyone to progress, whatever your background, whatever your gender, and wherever you choose to work. I think if we surround ourselves with people who look and think just like us, we run the risk of missing out on new ideas, ways of working, and the opportunity to learn and grow from others. I think our members are probably aware that we've joined with the Insolvency Service to deliver a project which is all about encouraging a diverse and inclusive profession, identifying what the barriers to entry into the profession are, the reasons why, as you go up through the profession, that the profession becomes less diverse, and trying to introduce new projects and change to address that. There are a lot of firms out there which are really leading the way on this, however, and I think we can all benefit from sharing good practice. The diversity issue is not just relevant to the profession, there's an awful lot of good practice that we can adopt here within R3 as well, ensuring that we really are a broad membership association with a place for everyone. And I'm challenging us all to really think about what we're doing and question whether we are inadvertently excluding others. So are we putting on a range of events that are attractive to the full range of people that exist within the profession? And small changes to the way we think here can really make a big difference. And there's so much we can learn, as I've said, from sharing experiences, cultures, beliefs and values. And today is International Women's Day, and that's all about part of what today is all about, isn't it?
Certainly is very well summed up. Okay, so only a few more questions. You're on the home run. So, the home straight, shall we say. What surprised you most about your time with the profession?
Oh, I think really the warmth and regard with which members of the profession hold each other and how passionate members of the profession are about the work that we do. IPs often can be competing for work, but outside of that, it's a very social and supportive profession. I think the passion that IPs have for work that they do and the compassion that is shown again and again when dealing with people facing really difficult times in their lives. Often this goes unnoticed, but I think this is what really sets the profession apart.
Very good. Okay, what one thing would you like R3 members to know about R3?
I think mainly that we are a small team, but we deliver massively with the sheer breadth, depth, and volume of work that we do. And that really is with the support of our committee members around the regions. When I joined R3 back in 2016, I was really blown away by the work that the team did, and especially the press policy and public affairs team. I thought I knew all about R3, but it really took me by surprise. And I think that's still true today. There are lots of things we can't talk about because it's about legislative changes that may be coming up, but we also still aren't very good at shouting about what we do sometimes, a bit like the IPs we represent. I want to remind everyone that we're there for all of our members, so just come and have a conversation with us, pick up the phone and say hello, and we really are ready to talk about anything.
We certainly are. Okay, so what would you have done if you didn't enter the world of insolvency and restructuring?
That's an interesting one, but I think really there's only one answer, and that is I would have had my own gin distillery. It might not have been very profitable, but I'd have been very happy.
I thought you already had one.
Yeah. No, I just support a number of other people's gin distilleries.
You're a big supporter.
Very.
Well, thank you, Caroline, for coming on. Really interesting to hear from you and appreciate your time. Happy International Women's Day again. And with all guests on the R3 podcast, I ask this question. What is the one thing you have learned during your career so far that has stayed with you throughout?
Oh, that's a interesting one. I think really for me, it's that you only need one person to recognise something in you that other people's haven't and give you the opportunity to progress, develop and really show your skills. And for me, as I'm getting towards the later stages of my career, it's really important that I give that back and support and help others to progress, develop. And sometimes it's the quietest people in the room that have the most to offer. So I think that's probably my key message for today.
That is one of my favourite answers, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for your time and thank you for everyone for listening.
Yep, that's a pleasure, Ben, and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much. Yep, happy International Women's Day all. Take care.
Thank you.